comrades, and one of the reasons that the POA put this resolution forward was because of what Mark has just outlined of Remploy workers. They can bail out the bankers, but they can't keep the Remploy factories open. We think that is an absolute disgrace. But what we also say is the trade union movement has got a responsibility to be the voice for those people that don't have a voice. I believe, and my union believes, the executive believe, that we have not just a moral obligation, but the Trade Union Congress has an absolute obligation to be that voice for our children, for the unemployed, for the sick, for the elderly, against these brutal austerity measures that clearly are tearing the fabric out of our society. Now, I'm not standing here pretending for 1 minute that we want to cause division within the trade union movement. We don't. But we believe we have an obligation to give a response on behalf of communities up and down Great Britain that have been ripped apart. We need to be a strong voice this week, because when you're being bullied, you've got to stand up to that bully. This coalition government are bullying everybody. And what you can't do is ignore that and walk away from it. So we want to use the 20th of October as just a foundation and a platform to kick on from there. And that is why we have worded the motion very carefully, because in the past we have worded motions just calling for a general strike and it gets defeated. It doesn't get past first base. So we've worded it properly, and hopefully we will get it through this week at Congress, so that we can have a real debate at the Executive Council and the General Council to make sure that the correct decisions are made in respect of fighting back against this uncaring government, and also to send a message to Labour as well that enough is enough, and they better start coming up with some policies that helps working class people and setting the agenda instead of I have absolute respect for all my colleagues on the General Council, and I have absolute respect for every affiliated union, and I do not want to cause division, but what I do want to see is us focusing properly on the realities that no one union can defeat this government by itself. The only way that will happen and get them to change the agenda from the damaging austerity measures is if we stand as one and lead different communities and be one voice through the trade union movement, irrespective of industry. That's what the message should be this week to this coalition government, that you've threatened us enough, and we will now take up that mantle and threaten them with the prospects of a general strike. That's what we should be saying loudly and clearly. We shouldn't be embarrassed to do it, because they're not embarrassed to kick us to death and kick vulnerable people in society to death. My members were proud because we're shackled by the anti-trade union legislation. And I've always said, and I know past General Secretaries have said, Brian Caton's in the room, that where our members tell us that they want to take action, then that is exactly what we will do. Bob Crow was right. I myself have spoken to John Hendy, and John Hendy and Professor Keith Ewing have actually written to the Guardian newspaper actually saying that to take a general strike may not be illegal. It may well be legal, and that's the sort of thing we need to look at. But the reality is, we're not reckless. We know the difficulties with it. We know about sequestration. We know about the anti-trade union legislations. Well, let's get rid of them, because the only way you'll get rid of the anti-trade union legislation is by ignoring it. And I finish on this, colleagues, because I know we're running out of time. The reality for the POA and the reality for every trade union should be, it's a very simple message. They will only stop chasing us when we stop running. Thank you.